Hey guys, Scott Smith here with Royal Legal Solutions. I'm doing an investor spotlight today with Taylor. It's a newest member of our community here, and I'm really excited to share a little bit about Taylor with you guys, so we can all help each other, be able to live better lives and become more prosperous. So Taylor, thanks so much for joining me here today, and welcome to the community. What is it that you think is important for people to know about you and your journey through real estate investing?
All right, so my name is Taylor Hendrix, and I'm currently a full-time CPA, and I'm also a real estate investor, and I'm working to get my real estate agent license right now on the side. I'm registered for the test. I'm just waiting for COVID to pass over so I can take the test and get that out of the way. A little bit about me is I grew up in a very small town called Oakdale, California. And I know, Scott, being over there in Texas, there might be a little bit of a rivalry because my town was known as the cowboy capital of the world. And that's what the sign said when you drove through. And a lot of people don't really realize that California has a lot of agricultural towns. And so, yeah, every year we had the rodeo parade. It was like a big deal where I'm from. So I was always working ever since I was young. I was 13 years old. I would go around the neighborhood and pass out flyers trying to earn some extra money on the side. I passed out flyers to like pull weeds, wax people's cars, and just anything I can do to get extra money. And so I was always hustling. I was the first person in my family to go to college. I studied accounting because I thought accounting would be a good, stable career, and it would give me enough money to be able to move out of Oakdale. And my dream was to move to like a bigger city. So I moved to the Bay Area. I started working for a Big Four accounting firm, and I thought it was going to be a lot more glamorous than it seemed. Because when I started working at the accounting firm, I found myself like I thought that I was so entrenched in the rat race, and I didn't see any way out. So I started reading all sorts of books, and one book that really resonated with me was Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad taught me that you have to build your dreams or you'll get hired to build somebody else's dreams. And so I kept thinking like, well, what can I do? Like, what can I do to get out of the rat race? And so I started reading a lot more books about investing, and real estate really seemed like it would be a good choice because of the cash flow. Like I just felt like if I put money into the stock market, it was like putting money into a black box, and it's like kind of like you're gambling and hoping that your stocks go up, but you have no control over it. It's kind of just like it's a crapshoot. So I started saving up money to buy my first investment property. Now, the reason why I started back from when I was in Oakdale, I started telling you the story is because one person that I mowed lawns for when I was 13, I mowed lawns for him from age 13 to age 23. All during that time, I not only did I mow lawns for him, I helped this man. He was disabled. He had a stroke when he was about 22. Very smart guy. He had like a master's degree in engineering or something, but after he had a stroke, he couldn't hear anymore, and one of his legs didn't work and one of his arms didn't work properly. So I kind of took care of him, and I took him to doctor's appointments. I took him to the grocery store to get his hair cut and all these things for many years. And so he ended up putting me in his will. And 3 years ago, I got an inheritance of about $120,000. And so I had already had this real estate idea in my mind. And so I thought, okay, like my parents, my family, we don't really have too much money in the family. So I knew this was the only inheritance I was going to get. And so I wanted to spend it right, and I wanted to build something for the future. And so I started doing all this research, trying to find like investment properties. What can I do with $120,000 in California? In the Bay Area where I was living, you can't get anything. Like $120,000 is barely even a down payment on anything over here. Everything's over like $1 million. So I started looking far away from the big city. I started looking in my hometown, Oakdale. I started looking in like Sacramento, and it's like, no, like, what about out of state investing? So I started researching, how much does it cost to buy a house in maybe Kansas City? In Kansas City, you can get a house for 100 grand, and it'll rent for like $1,000 a month. So if I put 20% down on 3 houses, I can have 3 rental houses in each rental house, the mortgages are much less than the rent. So I make money from day one. Like every month I have cash flow, more rent over the mortgage. So I have somebody else paying down the mortgage and I'm making cash flow every month. So I thought that was like a no-brainer. But then the problem was like, okay, how do I manage an out-of-state property? I ended up meeting this woman named Melissa Nash. She's my investment counselor at this company called Narada. They're a broker that I work with. And she helped introduce me to a really, really nice property manager in Kansas City. And they manage all three of my properties in Kansas City. And I'm really, really thankful that I met her, because after the first year of buying these investment properties in Kansas City, they did so well that I was able to save up enough money to purchase a fourth investment property last year. And so the fourth one I bought was in Cape Coral. And so that's still being built right now. So we'll see how that goes.
Very cool, man. Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
you've had like quite the journey so far. Where do you see yourself moving in the future? More into like single family or multifamily, commercial?
Yeah, I want to keep building my portfolio up with the single family until I build up enough equity to maybe do something a little bit bigger, maybe with commercial. But being on quarantine right now with COVID-19, one of my projects that I had for the last month was to build a website. So last week I built a website called coastalcashflow.com. I chose the name Coastal Cashflow because being in the Bay Area, I've noticed that there's a lot of people who are priced out of the real estate market here, especially like millennials that are my age. It's very hard to purchase your first property when the cheapest property you can buy is like $1 million. And so I thought like a lot of people kind of forget about buying property because it seems so impossible. But I think that the majority of Americans seem to have built their wealth by purchasing real estate and just keeping it long term. So I think that that's an option for a lot of people living on the coastal markets of America, is to purchase out of state, build equity by having somebody else rent the property. Even if you're renting in your coastal market, you could still build equity by buying property out of state. So I kind of wanted to share that with everybody. So.
Cool, man. And how are you helping people right now? Are you helping other real estate investors or other people in the world? How are you doing that?
So I'm trying to get my story out and show that it's possible for young people to invest in real estate, because to purchase one of these out of state properties, you only need to save up like 16 to 25 grand. And I feel like that's a very realistic goal. And I think that I'm trying to share my story and speak at conferences or do things like this to kind of get the word out there and show that it can be done and it's possible.
What do you hope to have happen by sharing your story?
I hope to meet other like-minded individuals who we can feed off of each other, learn what we're doing, and maybe just get ideas from each other. Because it's sometimes being in real estate investing, sometimes it seems like kind of like a lonely thing. Like I don't have a lot of friends in my area where I live that are into this. I meet people at conferences that are all over the United States who are doing this. So
Very
yeah.
cool. And so how could other people as part of the community help you?
Other people in the community can help me by teaching me things that maybe I never thought of before. Like I love hearing what other people are doing, and maybe they're doing something different that I never thought of before. So I just love like hearing what is going on out there. So.
Is there any specific types of relationships you need? Like some people would say like, hey, well, I on here say like, I really need like a really good CPA. Some people are like, hey, I need an attorney. Some people say I need money. I got deals. Other people are vice versa. Is there any type of specific request that you would have?
I think I'd like to get to know some more people who are providing turnkey rental properties out of state. I know a couple of brokers that I work with, but it's always cool to see how the turnkey operations work. And yeah, so I think property providers, I already have I'm a CPA, I don't do taxes, but I have another CPA who does my taxes for me. I have you as my attorney. I have a lender, like it's like a big community. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. Is there anything else that you think would be important for people to know about you, or where you're going here in the future, to know that they should connect with you before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'd love to share my story about how I got involved in real estate investing with other people. And I think that if they can log onto the website, coastalcashflow.com, read a little bit about me, and then maybe schedule a call with me, and we can maybe strategize on how they can get started in real estate investing.
Awesome. Yeah, guys. So reach out to Taylor. Welcome him to the community here, guys. He's got his website, the coastalcashflow.com. Also, another great way is to just start that conversation. It's just by dropping a comment here into the video. With any questions you have for Taylor, anything, so we can just kind of start, looking at as a community of ways that we can both support Taylor and maybe Taylor is able to offer us some support as well too. So drop that comment in here, guys. He's going to be part of the community, and we'll make sure that he gets all these messages and updates from everybody here in the community, so we can get him and his knowledge base just added to us, because together we're all stronger than we are individually. And that's what this community is all about. So thank you, Taylor, so much for your time today. And this was another Investor Spotlight episode. Join us at the Facebook page, the Tax, Legal, and Asset Protection Secrets for Real Estate Investors on Facebook. Or friend me at Scott Royal Smith on the Facebook page and follow us there.